Good morning, students. Today's experiment is going to be measurement of taperness using sine bar. So basically sine bar is a common and most precise way of getting the angle or finding the angle. The angle is found out by knowing the ratio of the length of two sides of a right angle. Okay, so further explanation is provided in the manual. Okay, so for your information you can study that. So coming to today's experiment, so we will be measuring taperness of a particular specimen using sine bar. So the aim of experiment is to determine the taper angle of a given specimen using the sine bar attachment. So what are the apparatus required? So the apparatus required are mainly, first of all, sine bar, and next slip gauges, next dial gauge with stand and specimen, and surface plate is required so that we can keep all of our equipment setup on a plane surface. Okay, so now the procedure of conduction of the experiment, I will explain that. Okay, as the parallelly you can visualize the setup. So first of all, you need to place the given component on the sine bar for the measurements. Okay, so next we need to have a dial gauge of known accuracy on a stand, so which you can see there. So next, in case if required, you can mark the position of the sine bar. So in case if you move the sine bar, so the variations can be accordingly noted down. The next thing is you have to measure the center distance between the rollers. Center distance between the rollers has to be measured, and this will be coming in the observations part. You can see it in the manual. Okay, so the next part is we are going to measure the taperness by making use of this particular setup. So for that purpose, we need to set the dial gauge at one end of the component, and then we have to move this dial gauge from one end of the component to the other end. As you can see, once the movement is there, you can see the dial gauge is recording the switch, that is the dimensions are being recorded, that is the movement. The dial gauge is indicating certain reading, so this reading you have to note it down. So you can do this for checking on the other end also if required. Now the thing is, we are making use of slip gauges. Then how to make use of the slip gauges? So we have to note down the reading whichever is being indicated in the dial gauge. So according to that reading, the appropriate slip gauges have to be chosen, and they have to be placed below the sine bar to make appropriate adjustments. So the slip gauges are being chosen so that they can be placed at the other end of the sine bar. Now once again you have to move the dial gauge mounted on the stand from the one end of the specimen to the other end of the specimen. Again you have to note down the readings in the dial gauge. So if there is any fluctuation in the dial gauge readings, then more number of slip gauges have to be added below the sine bar. We have to see that the dial gauge doesn't show any reading, which indicates that the taperness has been measured. So more number of slip gauges we are adding now. In case if you don't want to add them in increment, you can just go for a slip gauge of higher size. Then you can just mount it below the sine bar, and then you can note down the readings. So now more number of slip gauges are to be added. As you can see, the dial gauge is showing certain reading. So for that purpose, we are using a higher size 4 mm slip gauge, 40 mm slip gauge. So now you can just notice the movement here, and also parallelly you can see the reading on the dial gauge there. So you can see it will increase, the dial gauge reading will increase, so which indicates that the slip gauge which we have chosen is of higher size, and hence the dimension there below the sign bar, it has to be reduced. For that purpose we have to choose a slip gauge of lesser dimension. So presently we have chosen 40 mm, so we have to experiment again with 39.5 mm by combining your slip gauges. So as you can see, the slip gauges are being combined, so that we can check it for again for lower dimensions. So as you can see here, presently the needle of the dial gauge, so the reading is somewhere in between 70 and 80. So in case if you choose to move the dial gauge from one end to another end, so you have to see that the fluctuation is not more than 2 or 3 divisions. So for that particular movement, if you look at the slip gauges which you have chosen, so that will indicate the correct reading of the slip gauges. So those slip gauges are helping us maintain that elevation. So that reading of the height of the slip gauge, it has to be noted down. So in case if there is any variation, then again you have to experiment with different number of slip gauges, so until you arrive at that acceptable level of accuracy. So as you could see in the experiment, so when we chose slip gauges of 30 and 9.5 mm, we combined them, we placed them below the sign bar, and when we moved the dial gauge across from one end to another end, so there was not much fluctuation in the dial gauge, which indicates that the slip gauge height which we have chosen is appropriate. Now you have to note down the height of the slip gauges from smaller end which you have placed in the observation column. So furthermore, you have to use the formulas which are given in the manual, and accordingly you have to calculate the angle of the component which you have measured, which can be calculated by using the formula given in the manual, and then finally you can even measure the angle of the component using the bevel protractor in degrees. So finally the result is the angle of the taper of the workpiece is dash degrees. So you have to do the calculation and then you have to note down the value. So in case if you make use of bevel protractor, then what happens? Directly you can get the angle of the taper for the given component, but if you don't have any bevel protractor, okay, so that can be avoided. You can just, if you choose just to measure the angle of the specimen, the angle of the specimen just by using the sign bar, so even that can be done. So as of now we are just restricting ourselves to measure the angle of the taper angle of the specimen by using the sign bar. So accordingly you are noted on the readings, so then you can go for the calculation part and then you can write down the result. So this concludes the experiment. So we will meet in the next experiment. Thank you so much for listening.